by Dave Jeremy Corbyn.
First of all, thank you very much for inviting me here tonight, and what a wonderful venue for this rally. What a wonderful outside rally we've got out there. There's thousands of people out there on the street. And, I want to say thank you to Roger Corbyn, the Dean of the Cathedral, for allowing us to use this place tonight for this wonderful rally. Thank you to him. Way back on a hot summer's day in London, I joined in the Communication Workers Union demonstration about the need to protect Royal Mail and our postal services. And Dave said to me, will you come and speak at our event in Manchester in October? And I said yes, and he said, whatever the result of the election for leader of the Labour Party, I said yes, whatever the result of the election for leader of the Labour Party, I will be there in Manchester to support the postal workers, defend Royal Mail and defend trade unions. Not just for nominating me to be a leader of the party, but for the huge personal friendship and support that's been given throughout this campaign. Because our campaign had a number of principles surrounding it. The first one was the way that we do our politics in our society. I have been the receiving end, I understand, of quite a lot of unpleasant remarks in some of our newspapers. People tell me. I don't care, particularly. I'm not bothered. I'll tell you what, once you get out of the swamp of personal abuse and personal recriminations and tit for tat and all that and clever remarks, eventually people have to listen to the political arguments you're saying. Of the campaign on which I was elected was that we were opposed to the political choice of austerity in our society. Because that austerity budgets we've had for the past 5 years and the one we've just had, what are they really about? Making Britain a more and more unequal society, forcing more and more people into desperate poverty, the welfare reform bill making it even worse for the hardest up in our society, the cuts in tax credits making life impossible for many people even to properly survive within our society. That is not an economic necessity, that is a political choice. When they had a tax relief those that are leaving large estates to their relatives or large value properties to their relatives, that is a political choice. When they cut the support available for children in larger families, that is a choice. In life, we make choices. Do we care for all, or do we care for the few? Do we look after the hardest up, or do we look after the wealthiest? That is a political choice. I know what choice we have made in our unions, in our movement, in our party. We want to live in a society that actually does genuinely ensure that nobody is living in desperate poverty, and we do not pass by on the other side while others are suffering. That is the kind of world I want. Laid all this out in an absolutely brilliant speech to the Labour Party conference just a week ago today. He pointed out that we're going to collect the uncollected taxes from big business. We're going to invest that money. We're going to invest in the growing economy, invest in the hopes and futures of young people, invest in the housing needs that we need in the society. That surely is the right way to go forward. But we also have a very important duty, and that is to protect the very valuable public services we've got. We've seen the level of cuts that are going on in local government expenditure, inspired by central government cuts towards them, and we've seen the attack that is now being made on the postal service, on Royal Mail within this country. Now I say this, I absolutely value the idea, the notion, the law, the requirement that Royal Mail must be and has to be able to deliver an item of post to every address in the whole of Britain for 6 days a week, and it's called the Universal Service Obligation. Do you know why they want to take that Universal Service Obligation away? So that they can cut off whole areas from regular postal deliveries, dice up the whole service for privatisation, selling off, and use the politics of bargain basement economics to bring in other companies, paying people less, to work harder for longer, and thus destroying all of the work done by the Union of Postal Workers and now the Communication Workers Union over many, many decades. Well, I tell you this, we're not having it. We're not going to allow those. There's something rather special about it. It's the oldest universal public service organisation in Britain. It was a brilliant invention, brilliantly organised, and there's huge levels of cutting-edge technology involved in it. But instead, it's been taken over by a government that really doesn't understand many of these things and doesn't understand the enormous commitment made by postal workers all over the country to keep that service going, keep the letters and parcels and packages being delivered, doesn't understand that everyone that works in Royal Mail, whatever their job, has a mind, has intelligence, has ideas, and has ideas about how you can develop and improve those services. The kind of public ownership I want in our society isn't just a replica of the way the private sector does things. It's opening up the intelligence, the ability, the imagination of everyone that works in those services. Universal Service Obligation, and that we'll be doing our best to do that in Parliament. The other thing is the question of the ownership itself. We've been through this argument for a long time about various attempts to privatise Royal Mail. I have to say, every possible opportunity, I've always been opposed to any degree of privatisation of Royal Mail. It's a natural public service available for all of us, and that is how it must stay. And when Cable announced that he had reached a reasonable